Things that people regularly ask me about chainsaws is how do I set the chain tension properly and correctly, and also something I do find that people are insufficiently clear about is they don't know how to maintain the guide bar, and that's every bit as important as sharpening the chain and maintaining the rest of the saw. So I'll do chain tensioning and guide bar sharpening for you this afternoon. Very often you'll take the saw out of the shed and it'll have been used last time. There'll be half a yard of slack in the chain, and we need to take the side cover off and to remove the guide bar. We're just going to slacken the nuts off and just put a little bit more slack in the chain so that it's not damaged when we take it off, and then the nuts come off and are placed on a clean surface. That. Make sure the chain brake is off at this stage. Remove the side cover, and then we can lift the whole guide bar and chain assembly off of the saw. Put that to one side. Lift the chain off. I'm just going to pop that on the vise for the time being. And this is a shiny new guide bar, but I'll show you the maintenance techniques to ensure that it remains in good condition throughout its life and doesn't become dangerous to the operator. This is a steel guide bar. It has a sprocket nose at this end, which has pre-packed factory bearings. There's no need to grease it regularly. And as the guide bar gets used, what tends to happen is that you get burrs of metal building up along the edge, and these can break off and the guide bar can split down the side, and then the thing becomes dangerous. You can check for burrs with the flat file by just running it towards the edge, and if you get a resistance or a clicking as it comes off the edge, you know you've got a burr to remove. Using a flat file, we start with the guide bar resting on the bench at an angle like this, and you just run it down, keeping it flat on the guide bar. You can just hear it cutting there. Turn the guide bar over. We do the same to the other side. You can just hear it taking off that little burr there. Then we flip it end over end. Do the same again. A little bit more of a burr on that side. Flip it that way, and that's the fourth side completely done. Takes the burr off. We need to clean the groove, which we use a little tool like this, and you start at the sprocket end and rake any debris out of the guide bar by coming from the sprocket end towards the back of the guide bar. It's important that you wear gloves for this operation, as the corners of the rails of the guide bar can get very, very sharp, and you can cut your thumb as you draw the tool down the guide bar. So gloves are essential. And then to prevent those burrs from building up again, we just pop the guide bar in the vise, just nip it up, don't wind it too hard, and then using our flat file again at a 45-degree angle, we just run the full distance of the guide bar for about 3 or 4 strokes on each side. And that puts a very slight chamfered angle on the guide bar, which will slow down the formation of the damaging burrs. Don't get too carried away with this. I say 3 or 4 strokes on either side is plenty. We also need to make sure that the oil feed holes on the guide bar are clear, because if we can't get oil through the hole onto the guide bar, the chain lubrication is going to be compromised and the chain will get damaged, as will the guide bar. So we can just clean those holes out, one on each side, like that, and that's your guide bar maintained. If it's an older guide bar, not a nice new one like this, it's also worth checking before you put it back on that it's actually straight, and you can do that just by checking it with your eye to pick up any slight wiggles in the guide bar. If it is bent, usually the best policy is to buy a new guide bar. They're difficult to straighten otherwise. So we're going to put it back together. We're just going to slip that over there, over the drive sprocket, and now we'll go for the actual tensioning process.